Honestly, even though Nintendo is not my main gaming console, I will give them credit. If Nintendo says they're going to do something, I trust them. Welcome to episode 3 of the Normal People Gaming Podcast. My name is Michael.
And I am Duane.
Duane, how is it going? How's it going in the world of games for you?
It's going really good. It's been an exciting week. We got the Nintendo Direct for Switch, and it's kind of its grand finale of releases, one would think, right?
I would say so. Yeah, because I think we were expecting to hear about the Switch 2 recently, and
Yes.
we didn't. So it seems that it's a little bit further off than I had previously thought. So to see all these games that were announced, I would agree. This is it's like a huge going away party that's going to last like a year.
Totally.
I think it looks super fun, all these games. Now, you and I we talked about this, that we kind of see these videos and we're like, that looks like a really cool game I'm never going to play.
Right. I don't know if
We
it's...
don't mean anything disrespectful either.
No, we don't. I mean, I don't know if it's just where we're at in life, but you know, a lot of the games look really interesting, and I love some of the crossovers. Like you've got a Disney game that they showcased a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Like a really cool, like Disney and Nintendo. It's very wholesome. It's cartoony. It's like it's the perfect marriage, right? But it's just not. I mean, like, I guess what I need to do is to get my Switch. I own one, and I need to take it when I travel, because then I could play it in the airplane, and I could play all these cool games, or just places where I've got downtime. And I think now that I do have kids, and now that my kids are a little bit older, I'm not sitting there micromanaging them and making sure they're not going to throw up on the airplane next to me and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
or open the hatch.
the hatch. Yeah. We don't want that, please.
We also have a Nintendo Switch, and I think I'm just not in the habit of grabbing it. It's like we have all the game systems, and you build up a habit, and I have a habit of going to the Xbox. And I laughed the other day when my son, we watched a trailer for a video game, and then it said like PlayStation 5. And my son went, ah. And I turned to him like, you know we have a PlayStation 5, right? He's like, oh, that's right, I forgot. And it's like, and I feel bad as a console owner, like it's collecting dust. I think it's great. It's just, I'm in the habit of going to Xbox.
Son, it's over there on the shelf underneath the crochet dust cover that Grandma made for us. Oh, I didn't know what that was.
The doily.
The doily, yeah. It's next to the record player.
Yeah, I thought that I watched the trailer for Metroid Prime 4. I thought, wow, I thought it looked great.
Yeah.
I thought the new Mario and Luigi Brothership looked really fun.
Yes. It looks cool too. Like the style is beautiful. It's like a cartoon. It's like you're playing a cartoon.
I would venture to guess that if either one of us were to pick up the Switch and start playing one of these games, we would be having a ton of fun, and you would want to see it through to the end. I bet it's just that habit.
Absolutely. And when I first purchased the Switch, I bought it for my eldest, and with the thought in the back of my mind of like, I am going to play Zelda all the way through. I'm going to let them play, but then I'm going to sneak in, after hours, and I'm going to be playing this. I have not ever touched it because there have just been too many other distractions on PC or on Xbox. It's just like, those are the consoles and the systems that we reach for first. Yeah,
you're a big PC gamer. For anyone listening to this for the first time, I'm mostly on Xbox, you're mostly on PC, and that's just where we find ourselves.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll move the Switch into my office so that it's like, you know how they say if you play an instrument, you're supposed to like put it out on the music stand so that you just want to intuitively pick it up when you when you sit next to it. I should do that with the
Oh,
Switch.
you know what's funny? I'll show you. I have the Switch right here.
Oh, no
It's
way.
right here
You are
next to me.
literally holding it up. Yeah. And yet you do not play it.
No, so the reason for this is like a rare thing for it to even be near me. I got hooked on a game called Star Wars Hunters that just came out, and it's
Okay.
like this freemium, free to play multiplayer game that I'm not even that big into Star Wars anymore, but because Disney keeps destroying our hopes and dreams. But
I was going to make an Alkalite joke about your game, but I'll hold off.
oh man, but I've been having fun with it. It's definitely like it's got all the hallmarks of a free to play game, so it's not for everyone. But as something to pick up on my phone, every once in a while, it's pretty fun. But I believe they only released it for phone and like Switch, like maybe something else. But so I had considered playing it on Switch, but then I never made that jump.
Right, but why did you consider that? Like, is your phone, how's the resolution and the processing power compared to like a latest iPhone versus a Switch? I mean, the Switch has been out for half a decade now.
And that's the thing is the motivation was twofold. Number one, at the moment we have a guest in our home for a few days. And so I wanted to sort of leave them alone. And so yeah, normally I would go play Xbox, but I'm like, I want to not make a lot of noise, so I got the Switch and took it to my room. And so that was the motivation. And then I also was like thinking, oh, the Switch screen is going to be so much bigger than my phone screen, which is like, I want to say it's an iPhone 14. It's only like a couple years old. It's still a beast. Like my phone's
Do you have
still...
the big one? Is that the big one or is that the
So I actually
smaller
don't.
one?
I ended up not getting the max size. And yet the Switch screen, like when I was actually comparing the two, I was like, it's marginally bigger, but it didn't make enough of a difference for me to download the game and sign into my account. Like
Well, the
at the end of the
difference-
day, I have this control thing. So I'm showing you this.
Oh, is that for your
I
phone?
have this. This is for my phone. And it's
Oh,
basically,
see, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Like the difference for
Yeah.
me would be the tactile controls. Oh, that is really cool. So Michael's holding up,
Yeah.
it almost looks like two game pads that unfold and the phone goes in between. I didn't even know that existed. Wow, that's cool. Who makes that?
Yeah. So this is from a company called Game Vice.
Yeah. No
it's-
affiliation, by
this-
the way. Game Vice, if you
No,
want to reach
no,
out and
yeah.
sponsor us, absolutely. But
Please,
Yeah,
yes.
that's a cool-
I am so ready to sell out. But no, this is actually just a real recommendation. It's like about $100, but last I checked. But it's very good quality. Like it feels solid like a controller, and it's all mapped out like an Xbox controller. And so yeah, instead of playing the Switch version of it, I just plugged that into my phone, and that was enough for
well,
me.
listen, a phone costs $1,400. So you could literally buy
True.
3 Switches for that. So why not just buy one great
Yeah.
phone, which you need anyway, and then maybe this controller add-on, and you could put that in
Yeah.
your carry-on. And yeah, I think that's maybe what I'll do.
Honestly, one of the reasons I got this controller in the first place was for if I was away from home, I can actually play xCloud. I can play Xbox games with this controller hooked up to my phone. It's
Right.
streaming, so you don't want to play something it has some lag.
You're
It's
not playing Fortnite.
perfect. Yeah, I'm not playing like anything where you need twitch reflexes, but it's great for just about everything else. But yeah.
So you thought Mario and Luigi Brothership looked cool. Was there any other game that kind of caught your eye out of the ones that they showcased?
Well, I am actually very excited for the Metal Slug
Ooh, me
Tactics
too.
game.
Yes,
And
I saw
that's
that
coming
one.
to Xbox. I think
Oh.
it's coming to everything.
Gosh, why? Nothing is selling me a Switch right now.
Yeah.
I already have
Unfortunately.
one though, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I would prefer to
Well-
play that on Xbox for sure.
The good news is if you are primarily a Switch gamer, there's
these
a lot
options.
of amazing stuff coming out. Yeah.
Absolutely. I thought the Horizon Zero Dawn / Lego crossover was
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, who knew? It really surprised me with that one. I didn't see that coming. I love Lego games, and I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one. I haven't played the second one yet, but
I hope this is the first of many crossovers.
mhm.
Actually, let me ask you this: what other crossovers would you want to see between Lego and video game properties?
Yeah, you put me on the spot. Wow.
I'll give you one right
Okay,
now:
great. Hit me.
Fallout,
Oh,
because
yes. Of course. Of
you
course.
already you already have the dismemberment, right? So now you could do Lego dismemberment and little like red, little single dot bricks that fly out,
I don't
when
know what you're
someone's
talking
head
about.
pops off.
I'm just kidding. I know exactly what you're talking about. And yes, I don't even think you need the little single red things. I think you could
Yeah,
just
you just
dismember
have the
them.
head popping off.
Yeah, that'd be great. Can you imagine Melee or just anything in Fallout? Would be super fun. Yeah, come on,
Yeah.
Bethesda. Let's do it.
Were there any other games from the Nintendo Switch Direct that you?
I was just going to bring up two things. Number one, they added basketball as a free add-on to their sports game thing, whatever it
Oh,
is on
nice.
Switch. Yeah, and it looked actually pretty fun. They showed like a demo of someone doing the motions of how you shoot and how you dribble. So that could be a fun one. And then the second one was Stray. I thought I would bring that up because you play
Yeah.
Stray.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Stray, and I actually did play that on my PlayStation 5. So there you go. I dusted it off.
Took the doily off just for that game.
I want to give Nintendo credit because for adding basketball, because when the sports game first came out, I think some people complained that it didn't have, enough options or whatever. And they had promised that they were going to add more. And sometimes these promises in the gaming industry can come across as very empty sort of promises, but they have delivered. They have continued to add things. Like, if honestly, even though Nintendo is not my main gaming console, I will give them credit. If Nintendo says they're going to do something, I trust them.
Definitely. They have, what's the word I'm looking for? Integrity. They have integrity.
They have integrity. Yeah, they sure do.
I don't have any. That's why it took me so long to figure that out. Do they have pickleball? Because let me tell you something, Michael. At my gym, they took out
Yeah.
the best basketball court and they gave us the crappy side court for us basketball players, and they turned it into 4 pickleball courts for all the annoying pickleball people.
Man.
I'm sorry I don't play pickleball yet. My gripe was going to be if Nintendo added pickleball first to the sports game library before they did basketball, then I'd be like, figures.
It's like, come on, keep the full basketball court and just do like 1 or 2 pickleball areas. I don't know.
They had an entire soccer field indoor, and they turned that into like personal trainer area, which I don't use.
Oh,
And I'm like,
man.
that could have been partially pickleball, whatever. It doesn't matter.
You know what kind of decision that is? That's a money-making decision, because they were like, oh, if we can sell more personal trainer time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Does any child like think, when I grow up, I'm going to be a professional pickleball player? I don't
They
think
do
that
now.
happens.
They didn't used to, but they do now. Do you know it's named after his dog? It's not named after a pickle.
Oh, really? Like he had a. Oh, wow. That's kind
Yeah,
of fun.
the
I actually
inventor.
like that better now.
Well, we skipped over the part where we usually talk about our personal gaming anecdotes for the week. Should we get into that real quick?
I got I got some things to talk about.
Okay, what are you playing right now?
I'm very happy. Like, I went back and I got 100% of like all the achievements in Dredge, which is one of my favorite indie games.
The Deep got
you
you
haven't played
excited for that, didn't
Yeah,
it? I knew it.
yeah. Oh, still wakes the deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That did kind of make me think of Dredge. And Dredge released a trailer for new DLC that's coming in August.
Oh, nice. Did you also get all the achievements for the Dave the Diver crossover? Did you install that?
Sadly, Xbox, where I play Dredge, did not get the crossover stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a PC exclusive, huh?
That's a PC and maybe PlayStation, because I know Dave the Diver's on PlayStation. So yeah, didn't get that. But I did go back and get the rest of the achievements. I'm excited for the DLC. And then I guess in keeping with the water theme, I remembered that a long time ago I played half of Subnautica Below Zero.
Yeah.
So I went back and I actually just this week finished that game
I
and got
saw
the story.
in our Discord, sometimes you can see when people, what they're playing. I saw you were playing Subnautica and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Michael's going back to Subnautica.
I activated that reconnected Discord to our Xbox because we have this amazing community. So if you're listening to this podcast, we have a great normal people gaming community in the Discord. And so the link is in the description. You can click on it. But I just thought, I love seeing what other people are playing. And now I wanted people to see when I was online playing a game.
It's
because
fun.
it starts conversation.
It does indeed. When you know that scene in Up in the Air when George Clooney is having kind of a mental breakdown and all of a sudden he passes 10 million miles and the reward for getting 10 million miles is Sam, what's his name? Have you seen that movie? The Western guy. He comes and he sits down.
Oh,
he's
like Sam Elliott, I think.
Sam Elliott, yes. Well, congratulations. You've met your 10 million miles or, whatever he says. I bring that up because you got all the achievements in the Dredge.
In Dredge.
Do you now get like a celebrity comes on your screen and personally thanks you for...
I wish.
It should happen. Think about it. I mean, they could like not Fiverr, but they could like cameo a celebrity to like do that if you get all the achievements in a game. How cool would that be?
That's so funny because there was a game on PlayStation 1. It was one of the Jurassic Park games. And when you finished the game, Jeff Goldblum
No way.
yes, it's what you're talking about. Back on PlayStation, Jeff Goldblum, there was a video. It was just him in a video, and he would come on, he would be like, yes, congrats, you did it. You finished the game now. And he said something like, now go outside, go, leave your home.
Oh, I am going to YouTube this. I have to see this now.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
You got to see it. It's so funny.
You literally made my day now giving me this news because this is going to bring me so much joy. I love Jeff Goldblum. So,
yeah. So, hey, so yes, I agree. Let's do more of that. More games need to do that.
So you finished Subnautica as well.
Below Zero. Yep.
By saying you finished it, you got all the achievements. Is that how you finished that game?
I finished the story, and that game is very easy. See, it's like Dredge, you finish it, and then there's all these, like, I had to collect so many fish. I did, because you have to get, like, all the species. Whereas, like, so it has, like, these extra achievements that take some grinding. That is not Subnautica Below Zero. Subnautica Below Zero, pretty much if you just finish the game, you're gonna get all of them. I was approaching the end of the game and there was literally just one achievement that I saw that I was like, oh, I need to build this one thing and then I'll have them all. So yeah, that one was pretty easy.
Nice.
What about you? What are you playing?
I'm still working on Fallout 4. I'm doing the Far Harbor DLC, as we've talked about in the past. And, I actually came across something interesting. It was an article about Demas, which is a kind of a major character in that expansion, in that DLC. And there's apparently a memory block puzzle that you have to do. I've got the quest for it, but I haven't actually made it to the warehouse where all the memory blocks are yet. So I randomly come across this article and it's saying it's like one of the worst puzzles of all time, like in any video game. And I'm like, really? And so I'm a little, have you played this? Because you've played the expansion, right?
So I have. I played it a long time ago. And
do you remember that puzzle?
I don't remember it. No. Okay. I know I must have done it because I finished everything. I finished that game and I finished that DLC, but no, I don't remember.
It's like one of those kind of frustrating mini games that you get sometimes in other games, and you're like, really, why are you making me go through this?
Yeah.
From what I've heard. Now, I'll update everyone once I complete this quest, and I'll tell you whether or
Yeah, I
not it's
want to
trash.
hear how it goes for you
Hmm.
because I'm such a pushover when it comes to video games in that I'll be playing a game and I'll just accept it for what it is and I'm just like, "Oh, this is what I'm doing now." And
Hmm.
I'll have a hard time with something. Sometimes I'll get a glitch and I don't realize it's a glitch. And then later someone's like, "Well, this must be a glitch, right?" And everyone's like, "Yes, it is. Sorry." I'm like, "Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was just me. I thought I was the problem." And so
I was
sometimes
digging
with
in a corner in the field for 3 hours, and it was actually a glitch.
I don't know if this is something that like I need to see a therapist for, but I will often like something in a game could be poorly designed, and I'm just like, I'll realize it after the fact. When
Hmm.
I'm in it, I'm just like, well, this is what I need to do to progress. And so I just go through it. I
I
don't
kind of like
like
that because you're
get
optimistic.
mad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're very optimistic about it. You're approaching it as a challenge instead of bad design. So kudos to you for
Yeah.
that. Honestly,
But
I
it's
don't know if I
funny
could do
cuz
that.
like even like the Starfield like temple puzzles,
Hmm.
like early on I'm just like I don't know why people are mad. It is what it is. You know, this is what you do and then like after a while I'm like, okay. Yeah, yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, just to touch on that real quick, like if you go from temple to temple as fast as you can, you're gonna get sick of it. But the way that I've
Yeah.
played the game, I mean, I'm doing quests in between.
Yeah.
There's weeks in between sometimes different temples. So I'm like, I never. And it plus, what is it, a minute of your time to fly around? Look, it's not the best mini game ever. In fact, we came up with alternate ideas
That's
for
true, we did. Yep.
in our other podcast, Starfield with Normal People.
Much
So
better ideas.
absolutely,
Yep.
Bethesda, we're waiting for you to implement those. But yeah, if you
Yep.
guys are into Starfield, definitely check out our sister podcast. Should we call it that? The sister podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I bought RoboCop. It was on sale,
Oh, I
and
want to play that.
yeah, it looked really good, and it was on sale. So I was like, "Yep, I bought it." I have not actually played it. I did install it, so I think the next free gaming window that I get, I'm going to try that. Actually, the very first full size arcade game, and actually the only one that I've ever purchased, was
Yeah.
RoboCop. It was
Oh,
like
really?
a late '80s, maybe early '90s RoboCop arcade game. It was like $200. I went and picked it up with my truck and had it in our apartment when I was like in my 20s. It was kind of
That's awesome.
it was not a great game, but it was cool to have
Yeah.
a full size arcade game like in your apartment.
Man, that RoboCop game looks so good. And you know, it's like you'd never want to like come across as like a psychopath, but what is it about games with like blood and gore? It's just like they're rad. Like
Whoa.
what is that?
Talking about therapy.
What is
No, I get what you're saying. Like, I think it's not just blood and gore. It's the ability to do pretty much anything that you can't do in real life. So this is why Grand
it's like
Theft Auto is so satisfying. Is because if you drive a vehicle on this earth, you're constantly frustrated by stoplights, road
yeah,
hazards, obviously other drivers,
other
and
drivers that are yeah,
and
yeah.
pedestrian, whatever. I mean, it's totally understandable why it's so satisfying to play that game. Same thing with RoboCop. Like you're justified in these actions, and it's very satisfying.
Yeah, I think with me like games that are like especially shooting games that are very, you know, gory or bloody. It's sort of like the impact, right? It's like just the it's like the visceral impact of using these weapons. I
Hmm.
remember it was hard for me to get into some of these games. I remember around the PlayStation 2 era, like everyone was trying to do like the next Metal Gear, but I'm spacing the name of this game, but there was a game that it was trying to be Metal Gear, but it was trying to be like have a T rating. And so you would just stun enemies. And it was the same thing. You would still shoot and they would drop.
Hmm.
But because it was a stun gun, it was like pop, pop. Like it wasn't like that gunshot, you know, and it wasn't like that you didn't feel the impact.
Right.
And so I
The
don't know. It's
stakes
like,
were so low in that game that you just couldn't
yeah.
get excited over it. It just felt so pedestrian.
I wish I could remember. I've played so many games in my life. Can't remember the name of that one.
Sam
But
Elliott's
it
gonna
wasn't.
get on the next airplane with you and tell you what it is. Well, moving on to more news and commentary. Did you know that the number 3 game on Steam, as of I think it was last Friday, is just a picture of a banana Michael? That sounded like I
How?
said a banana Michael. A
Banana
banana
Mike.
Michael?
No, it's just a picture of a
It's a
banana.
picture of a banana, right?
Yeah. The internet likes to latch on to something silly, right?
It's a trend.
It's an
It's a
it's
flash
an
in the pan
yeah.
trend. Yeah.
It was like, Bodie McBoatface, which I think is hilarious. I'm not trashing Bodie McBoatface,
No.
but they wanted to name this new boat. They put it out to the internet, and of course the silliest name everyone
Got the most
latched
votes.
onto.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, right? Like the more ridiculous it is, like it's like the more it should not be, the more we want it to be.
Right. And just to clarify, this is a JPEG of a banana, and when you click on it, it starts a counter. So, and it does
Yeah,
not
so it's a clicker
save.
game.
It does not save your progress.
What? No.
All this is just counting a timer up by clicking on a banana, right?
Yeah.
You know that show, I Think You Should Leave, where he's in there, he's playing a game, and he's like feeding hamburgers into like a. Have you seen that clip? I can't remember what the game is. It's similar to this
know
though.
It's
Basically
I know
he's
the
like,
show. I haven't seen that.
yeah, it
Well,
feels
they
like
have
that.
one of the first games that I knew, of this genre, which is a clicker game, was a game called Cookie Clicker.
Yes.
And it was just every time you clicked, it would be like 367 cookies. It just would go up. It is an interesting thing, and even the creator of that game just said, I wanted to do something that was just silly, like it wasn't,
Yeah.
any hopes or dreams or anything, but it
Is there
was a success.
Is there a secret part of our brain that is saying, if I hit 2,333 clicks, something's going to happen? Okay.
Right.
If I hit 5,291 clicks, surely something will happen. Is it that part of our brain that makes us want to keep clicking, or what's going on here?
What I'm reading about this banana game is every 3 hours you'll get a random banana and you'll grow your
Hold
collection.
up. Whoa. There's gameplay elements in this?
So there's
I didn't know
more
about that.
to it.
I thought this was just a picture of a banana. You're talking about like actual stuff.
I'll tell you one thing. I have a weakness for collection games. That's not the reason I started playing Dredge, but that's one of the reasons I kept playing, is because it's like Pokemon. You want to complete your Pokedex, you want to complete your journal and collect all the fish, find all the different species. And
Right.
so now here you go, you can get all the different bananas. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to, even though I like collecting games, I don't think this one's going to get me in there.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people are just like, okay, I'm curious. They see it in the top list, probably is how some people saw it, or like a friend told them about it, I guess. Yeah, I'm not wasting my time until later tonight when I download it. Then I'll be wasting a lot of time on it.
Duane's going to have all the achievements by next week.
I've got a question for you though. Say you have a franchise that has a lead character in it, okay? It's been going on for decades and decades. Ironically, the title of the game does not include the lead character's name, but everyone thinks the lead character is the name in the title.
Yeah,
Now,
this sounds familiar.
Keeping that in mind, you come out 30 years later with a game that now has the title character of the original game as the lead character. Should you name it differently? I mean, should you name it the lead character, or should you name it the character that was in the title? Now, if you haven't caught on yet, we are talking about The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. If
Zelda,
somebody didn't know about Zelda, this whole premise would be very confusing.
exactly. Zelda is obviously who Link is looking for in the original game. She's the princess, right? It's not called The Legend of Link. So the point of this whole conversation is, Nintendo announced The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, but a lot of people are saying it should now be called The Legend of Link because it stars Zelda. I mean, that would be
Right.
logical, right?
That would be logical given the 30 years of Legend of Zelda being playable Link. However, I could see this as course correction. Like, what if this is the first Legend of Zelda game to actually star Zelda, and then the next Link game will be called Legend of Link? This is them trying to right a wrong.
Interesting. Okay.
That'd be my guess.
It's a little like when Ford Motor Company decided to take the Mustang brand and put it on an SUV after 50 years
Right.
of it being known as one of the world's most recognizable sports cars. A
Yeah,
two-door
always like a muscle car.
muscle car is what a Mustang is. Now you put the Mustang logo on an SUV. It feels
don't
kind of
like
like that. It feels kind of like that for me.
This actually reminds me of something that Capcom did with Resident Evil. So I actually love this because Resident Evil in Japan was called Biohazard. So that's how it was for years and years. So as Biohazard 1 in the United States was Resident Evil 1. Biohazard 2, Resident Evil 2. Then around the time that Resident Evil 7 came out, well, in Japan it was called, of course, Biohazard 7, but Resident Evil. And then in the United States, it was Resident Evil 7, Biohazard.
Interesting.
And yeah, that was kind of a nice thing. Although, here's the thing. When they did that, I thought it was course correction. I thought, oh, that's a clever way to, from now on, call it Biohazard here in the US. No.
They didn't do it.
that.
Nope.
But that's the thing, because it's brand recognition, right? Like Resident Evil is in the United States is a recognized name. And that's the same with Legend of Zelda. Like, I don't know if they could do Legend of Link and sell the same amount.
You're right. They've got to keep the brand, and no matter what the spinoff, it's kind of like Star Wars. It's always Star Wars, and then something else after that, typically.
Yeah.
So, yep, it's all about marketing.
It's like when you talk to like a really dedicated Star Wars nerd, and they're like, "Well, the first movie is called A New Hope." You're like, "It's Star Wars."
It's Star Wars.
Yeah, as an aside, earlier you mentioned Still Wakes the Deep, which we had talked about on our last episode. That actually came out, as of this recording, that came out today on Game Pass. So
Oh, it did.
I'm going to be downloading that and playing that ASAP.
I know you linked the trailer for it last week in our Discord, and that was cool. They showed gameplay, and they showed some of the creepy crawling around that you would have to do in this, what is it, like an oil rig, offshore oil rig?
Yeah, it's like an offshore oil rig, yeah.
Yeah, it looked interesting.
And Dredge's DLC coming out in August is this rig out in the middle of the ocean. So a lot of themes.
There was a lady who was caught smuggling 350 Nintendo Switch games in her brassiere.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently she was leaving Hong Kong, headed to China, and she was stopped by a customs official after they noticed she was acting strange. She seemed nervous, and she had oddly shaped
bosoms.
She had oddly shaped bosoms during routine inspection. So yeah, I mean, I guess this lady tried to bust through, no pun intended, with over 900.
Well, let's see, over $9,000.
Oh yeah, over $9,000 worth of Switch games.
That is something. And hey, Switch games are, at first I was like 350 games, but they are tiny. They're little cards. So
But they do add up.
that does add up. This is one of the, hey, kudos to the people that caught her, because I gotta tell you, if I work that job, I am not stopping someone based on some weird looking bosoms.
That's where you and I differ, pal.
I'm just
Yeah, no,
like, I don't know, man. Maybe she's just got a weird setup, you know?
I wouldn't stop her solely on that, but it does say she was acting nervous and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, acting strange. So that probably tipped them off a little bit. But also the Minecraft style blocky chest area was probably a dead giveaway.
Excuse me, ma'am. You look a little pixelated. Could you
Yeah.
step over this way, please?
She sneezed and like 50 Switch games popped out.
Yeah. Well, we kept it tasteful. That's a fun story.
Did we? Yeah.
You know, we had mentioned Starfield earlier. They were kind of in the news as well. It's interesting because it was like good news because Creation Kit launched, but then immediately, you know, people didn't like how much some of the Creation Kit content was priced.
I thought that
So
was such an
it's-
overreaction. Like, I understand review bombing to some degree. I probably wouldn't do it personally, but over something in my mind that was so minor, like $7 for a mission. Some people said you could complete it in 20 minutes. We talk about this on our Starfield pod, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
we
I
did.
don't know why that would, you know, compel you to go review bomb a company, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think what, unfortunately, and this is not just related to Starfield, but this is kind of a big issue in the gaming community, is there are things that you can you can disagree with, but like the minute somebody starts like getting violently angry over something that is this trivial, that's kind of when I stop listening. Like if you come to me and you talk and you're like, well, I think it's a little bit high. I think, you know, it should be priced this way, or I think it should be free, but you have like a measured way of discussing it. I can listen to that person, but some like I've seen some posts recently, not just about Starfield, but about other games that are so wild. It's like, please go out and talk to real people. Like you're like, if your only discourse is just other gamers on the internet, like it can get
You
rough.
get in a ideological bubble of negativity, and like you get whipped into a frenzy by some of these YouTube videos that are saying, "Wow, this is the worst thing ever," and then you're like, "Yeah, it kind of is." After watching your 46 minute long video on why $7 is too much for this, now, let's head over to Steam and go ahead and review bomb this game because you got me whipped up.
You know, and this points to kind of another, like sort of a bigger issue with the internet in general, is that negativity gets clicks. We've talked about that a bunch of times. So negativity gets clicks, but then, like what you're saying, what does that do to the viewer? Like the people that are watching these negative videos and these angry videos about games, like games are just supposed to be fun. Like we love games. We have a gaming podcast. We've got 2 gaming podcasts, but at the end of the day, they're games. And you, like, if you're getting angry about it, maybe you need to step away from that game, or you got to stop watching these negative videos because it teaches people, and I'm not even saying kids, because a lot of these are adults. These negative posts, negative articles, and negative videos are teaching people that type of way to engage in, you know, that sort of discourse is okay.
Right.
It's not. Like, you gotta chill out. You can disagree, but my goodness, relax.
Amen, Father Michael.
Soapbox moment. Well, maybe the podcast needs to have this soapbox corner.
Yeah, and I do want to sidebar to that, which is you can still criticize stuff. We're not saying there's no space for criticism.
Totally.
We're just saying don't get whipped into a frenzy by watching 15 negative clickbait videos in a row and then review bombing a game that you've only played one time and you're not even going to buy the extra thing anyway. So there. Speaking of negativity, Valve is getting sued for $838 million over alleged pricing restrictions. It must be one of these class action lawsuits.
The lawyers are all going to take their cut first.
Of course.
That's like whenever class action lawsuits happen, like, hey, you know what? I'm happy to get a check for $100 that I wasn't expecting, but
Usually
real,
it's between 14 cents and like $37 is like the class action lawsuit checks that you get. I still cash them. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Apple had to pay me $3 a couple times. So there.
Valve used to be sort of the industry darling when it came to gaming and especially PC gaming, but even, they had some console releases with like Portal and, the Half-Life, the Orange Box and that kind of stuff. Valve, I'm not disparaging them. I do think it's unfortunate that they don't really make games anymore. It feels like, I mean, maybe they do, but it's like they had all these great properties and nothing's happening with them because they became so successful as a hub and as a storefront.
They own that storefront space. I mean, other companies come along every once in a while and try to make their game only available on some other platform, and it's a huge disaster.
Yeah.
I despise when I have to like install some other, parent software in order to play a game. I'm like, are you for real? Don't make me do that. And then what usually happens is like 5 years later, you get an email saying, we're shutting down this portal, and if you want your thing, you got to download it now or else you'll lose it forever. It's one of these like digital, copies that goes into the digital death domain, never to be seen again.
I've gotten those emails where it's like, your Flubenberber account has been involved in a breach. You might want to change your password. Like, dude, I don't even remember you.
Right.
Why did I get this?
I had it installed once when I played the game the first time, and then I uninstalled it shortly thereafter. And now, 10 years later, I'm getting an email from you saying, hey, we're closing the system down. Well, there was one final story for this week, which I thought was amusing. So the developers of a game called Troubleshooter Abandoned Children, which is a tactical RPG,
okay.
they're unable to add a dating system, Michael, because, quote, the team lacks real-life experience for dating. One of the developers responded to a comment about adding a dating system into the game, and they said, dating system? It's a feature that a lot of people wanted, but my team members have no experience with it, even in real life. Thanks for this review. So either they're very dedicated to their craft of building this RPG, which, hey, I admire that, or maybe they're younger and they just, I mean, look, dating is hard, especially these days.
Yeah.
I guess, all days, but seems harder from an outside perspective than it used to be.
We're married men. We're not in that scene anymore, but man, from the outside looking in, I feel for these people now who are, they have the dating apps, like, especially after like COVID, there were 2 years where like people just lost all these social skills.
Right.
It's, I do not envy anyone that is in the dating scene today. And especially, like you said, they might be young. These are people that are like developing games, like, and I don't mean that in a ha-ha gamers type thing. I mean like they're ambitious.
Yeah.
They're working hard.
These are the people that you want to meet and you want to marry because they're go-getters and they're going to continue to be successful in life. So
you got to set aside time for yourself, guys. Come on, get out there.
Kind of reminds me of this TikToker whose whole spiel is he's like an anime guy and he gets in like first person shooters and he's like, wow, a real life gamer girl is in our server. I'm going to impress her. Just all the stuff he says is like really cringe, but also hilarious. Look for those gamer girls, I guess.
Look for them and then please treat them with respect. They're just there to play games, guys.
Right.
They're there to play the game. Hey, we want to really say thank you for listener feedback. As you know, this podcast is still relatively new, and so we love seeing the comments on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we got a great comment from Genghis Bobber.
Genghis Bobber.
Genghis Bobber, and they were commenting about our little yellow paint segment that we talked about in our last episode. They said the yellow paint thing reminded me of a paper we had to read in grad school about the psychology of color. Oh yeah, it's a whole thing. It is indeed. In fact, that's why McDonald's was like red and yellow, because those are the colors that make you hungry, apparently, right? We all have heard that.
Now, we also had another comment from James McGill. I appreciate this comment because I had mentioned how the Dreamcast allowed you to copy games willy-nilly. And James corrected that. So as a correction, they say it is true that there wasn't really any type of protection on the discs themselves, but that's because the Dreamcast used proprietary discs that held more data than a regular CD. So Sega left the code in the BIOS that could boot a game from a burnable CD for the sake of developers prototyping their games on real hardware. So apparently, just to correct what I said, you still need a Dreamcast to rip games, but then you could use a regular CD burner to make bootable discs. Just a little bit of correction there, but I appreciate it. Always, if I've got something a little off, you just let me know.
And finally, Nonstop Ram, great name by the way, said, pretty good discussion. Hey, thank you.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take pretty good, yeah. I'll take it.
That's my bar, is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, as always, you can leave comments on our YouTube, or like I said earlier, you can come into our Discord server where we just have an amazing group of people chatting about games.
Yep, and we would love to thank our special companions who are part of our Patreon. If you want to be a part of our Patreon, link will be on our YouTube channel in the description.
The Patreon helps support everything that we're doing here, everything on the channel and our podcasts. So if you take a look, we'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we have Brian, Space Cadet, Rampage American X, Cherry Bomb RN, Griffin, Ben Price, and as always, Zigra Rocks.
In addition to that, I want to thank one of our brand new supporters that just signed up, Daniel. Thank you very much for joining. Check out the Patreon because you'll get ad-free versions of all of our videos and you get them early.
You want to join? Head on over there.
Well, thanks to everyone that listens on streaming and to those watching on YouTube. All links are provided in the show notes below.
If you like the show, consider dropping a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app, or we will make you smuggle 350 Switch games in your underwear through a customs area if you don't do that.
There must have been some rattling, right?
Yeah. What's all that rattling coming from? What is that plasticky clicking sound?
Just thought of that. Well, thanks for hanging out with Normal People Gaming, and make sure you subscribe because we will be back for more.
We'll see you then.